Hey, good Monday morning, everyone. It's Carolyne Rodrigues here, coming to you from Fort Myers, Florida. You can tell I'm a little sweaty. It's a warm one down here, but you know what? It's interesting, the topic that I have to talk to you about today, because I caught myself, I'm like, it's really hot here. There's my mom, Yvonne. Nice to see you on, Yvonne. And when I was talking to my mom, she goes, "Oh, it's really chilly here." So, a compromise in between would be great. So I was just thinking about this, what happens to, this is the topic of my Facebook Live today. What happens to your brain when you complain, when I complain, when we complain, right? And so here I am, Carolyne Rodrigues, Magical Monday, November 4th, you guys, and this month is my birthday month. So I'm going to be celebrating all month long because, woohoo, turning 65 this month and celebrating that rather than complaining about how old I am. So today, if you're joining me live, tell me what the weather's doing in your part of your neck of the woods. Hey, Casey. And if you're listening to this in #replay time, I would love to know what you're taking away from, my ramblings on my Facebook Lives. On Mondays at noon, I'm here. So you can catch me on my Carolyne Rodrigues coach page. And for those of you who are listening to this or watching this from one of the group pages we post on, I would love your feedback as well. And if there's anything you want me to talk about in terms of things that will assist you that you've been dealing with. So this came up because on my flight from Toronto to Florida, I met the nicest gentleman. He had the middle seat. And, when I sat down, he goes, "Oh, I was just hoping that a skinny person would sit beside me." So it was, we started laughing and I intended to watch a movie, but oh my goodness, I never took out my earphones the entire time. We just chatted the whole time. And he was whistling, he wasn't upset about having the middle seat. He wasn't upset that his wife was sitting somewhere else and he was sitting here, and I offered to switch places and he said, "Oh, we've been married 33 years, a little time apart won't do us any harm." So he had a smile on his face. He was genuinely a happy person. And I started thinking, how many people did I know like him? And I was like, not that many. And I asked him, "Are you this happy all the time?" And his answer was yes. So over the course of 3 hours, I got to know him, and we're now Instagram friends and WhatsApp friends. And I can't wait to have my husband meet him and his beautiful, beautiful wife, right? So this generated this thinking about, geez, how many really happy people do I know? It's just generated some deep thought about myself. And how do other people see me? And who am I surrounding myself with? What kind of people, right? So think about this, you guys. Does complaining ever accomplish anything positive? Yeah, okay, 2 people are listening to Lifetime. Does it? Thumbs up if you say yes, thumbs down if you say no. So, and did you know that complaining can have some real negative effects on your brain? So I started diving into the internet and I found some interesting things. So here's what I found. Complaining can actually rewire your brain over time and set you up for failure time and time again without you even knowing it. Yeah, so you're right, Mom. Does complaining ever do anything? No, it doesn't. So I just got some new teeth. Let me fix them up. Research has shown that on average, people complain once a minute during a typical conversation. Yikes! Okay, so when we teach our minds to repeat something over and over again, it doesn't take long for the brain to pick up on that pattern and to develop what we call these neural pathways. It's like water takes the path of least resistance, right? When it's coming down a mountain, and it'll be a little slower, but then as it keeps coming down the mountain, it forms a groove. And your brain is the same way. They're called neural pathways, and we develop that specific to complaining. So so when I was reading about this, it says that efficiency is a primary objective for the human brain, and it's built to make frequently repeated tasks easier to repeat in the future. So what does that mean? So you complain, okay, and you keep doing it, and your brain creates this path of least resistance all around complaining. So in most cases, we're not thinking about it, and we wonder why we behave the way we do. But when it comes to complaining and negative thoughts, that can be a real problem. You're telling people what kind of person you are, what kind of person I am. So frequently complaining actually rewires your brain in a way that makes it easier and more natural to complain. So you become that person, right? We become what we think about. So I gotta ask you, do you know anybody like that? That the first thing out of their mouth is something negative or a complaint about something. And what's typical is that the more complaining we do, it only strengthens those neural pathways, and it makes it easier for us to have those negative energy thoughts. So it's like this vicious washing machine cycle that can quickly get out of hand, leaving you with a negative outlook on life that can be really difficult to shake. And it's like, yikes. And I remember my husband telling me that when I worked as a flight attendant in the airline. He goes, I don't know if you know this, but all you ever do is complain about your job. And I was like, really? I don't think so. And then he cited some examples, and I'm like, oh my God. I mean, I know so many people that would have loved to have that job as a flight attendant, fly all over the world. And the only thing I had to say about it in the last few years of my career was all negative stuff, right? And that happens when, as part of a union mentality, sense of entitlement, this is not good enough. And so guys, I did get caught up in this. And so it's just a natural instinct for us to complain. I'll give you another example. Most recently, so I'm arriving in Florida. I text my husband, and he said, I just want to warn you, the AC isn't working, and it's like 32 degrees in the house, or in Florida we say it's like 95, and I'm like, whoa. So I just immediately gravitated, oh my God, that's awful, how am I gonna do that? All that gunk started coming up, and then I caught myself. I thought, okay, thought, choose your thought, look at it in a different light, and understanding that adversity doesn't have to cause me to live in this space of drama on how bad it is, and I can't sleep, and it's so hot, and did you call somebody? And like I went into that space, and then I very quickly caught myself and say, what's good about this? Well, are there people that live without AC all the time? Yes. Are there people who can't afford to get their AC fixed? Yes. So new thought. All right, this is just going to last a couple of days. It's going to be uncomfortable. So the bright side thinking, people say the positive thought, I call it bright side thinking, is that I'm so grateful, I'm going to talk about that I have the finances to call somebody and get them to come over and fix it. So a little discomfort isn't going to kill me. And then we did call somebody, and they never called us back. So that was on Friday I got here. Nobody called us Saturday. Nobody called us Sunday. And I finally picked up a brochure, and I said to my husband, let's just call these guys, because whoever installed our furnace doesn't deserve our business, because they haven't called us back, even though we called their emergency after services phone number. And then what happens, you guys, I did post it on Facebook, and a whole bunch of my neighbors came to my rescue. Thank you, Nancy. Nancy says, here's the code to my garage. Just go in, make yourself at home. I have an app. I'll, make the place cooler for you. Use the pool. Okay, and then my other neighbor, I'm going to turn this around, sent over a fan because the AC is being fixed today. And so, gosh, when you turn your thinking around, the solution starts to show up. And yeah, I'm just going to say it. Negativity is the enemy of happiness and success, and meaning that these neural pathways that you don't want your brain to be building, you consciously have to do something to change it. So it does affect each of us, our overall ability to be happy in the now. And I talked about that last week, right? How do we be happy in the now? So how can I be happy in the now knowing that, hey, I'm uncomfortable? And then I started to think, have I ever experienced this before? And yeah, when I did my mission trips to the Dominican, there's no air conditioning. We worked in lots of places where it was a metal roof, a mud hut, out in the, and we were sweating, but I knew that it was temporary and that the people that we were there helping, they live like that all the time. So guys, this is what I'm saying. If you're putting out negative thoughts into the world, guess what? You'll continue to get back more and more negativity. And I call that the boomerang effect, right? So where am I here? So this isn't the only ill effect about the only ill effect of complaining. What happens is when you're complaining, Casey, what is this trying to teach me? It's a process, you guys. It doesn't just happen overnight. I just started deeply thinking about this when I met this gentleman on my flight, because it's like some people give you such a diverse picture of what life could be like, and maybe it's an opportunity to see the reflection and say, am I reflecting what this person is, how this person is being? And so that's what drove this kind of thought process and an actual scenario where I can get to practice it, right? So what happens to you physically, mentally, emotionally, health-wise, is when you complain, your body releases cortisol. That's that stress hormone, because it's like, okay, you're under stress, we gotta fix it. And so when you're under stress all the time, all kinds of things happen. Your cortisol your blood pressure goes up. I don't know, I read all these things about diabetes and stroke and heart attack and all of that kind of stuff, right? Because when we're not calm, our body is like, right, fight or flight, and it's got to do something to calm you down. So it's safe to say that complaining is certainly something that does more harm than good in many, many ways. But it is a habit that we can break. And so, do you want to form some new neural pathways? That's what I had to ask myself. The good news is that there are things that you and I can do to retrain our brain, much like, gosh, you know what? Before I started exercising, these things used to be flapping in the wind, and now by doing those exercises, I can make them stand up. But it means that I have to practice. I have to do that on a regular basis, not just once, right? So I'm going to give you 3 steps that you can take towards developing a more positive outlook, isn't right? Just the bright side. Let's call it the bright side outlook on life, for things that show up that you didn't plan for, things that you didn't foresee, things that take you out of the game, and it's like, whoa, okay, I didn't plan for this, right? And that's life, you guys. So number 1, realizing that complaints are harmful. Yeah, I'm cleansing today, so my brain is having to work a little harder. So complaints, here's the other thing. Complaints don't always have to be verbalized to be harmful. Some of us have stinking thinking thoughts about situations and people, and just because you don't say them out loud, the same stuff is happening inside. So just understand that it's not about, oh, well, she can't hear me, but I'm thinking these awful thoughts about them, right? So to address the problem, you need to get to the root of the root of the issue, and that's your mindset. So a great place to begin developing this more of what I call bright light outlook on life is to adopt an attitude of gratitude. Guys, we hear that all the time, right? And I thought, I'm a pretty grateful person, but when something happens, maybe I'm not so grateful, right? So it's the first step I had to take when my husband gave me this wonderful news. And there was a couple other things that happened that all, like you saw my picture, the chandelier fell down, and I was like, okay, how did that happen? So instead of giving him grief, well, how did that happen? Getting into that old habit, I was like, wow, when I got here, I was like, wow, geez, I can't believe the table didn't, get wrecked because it landed on these two little candle things I had, and the wax candle caught the brunt of most of it. So that's one thing. And then I said, okay, so what's good about the fact that the AC isn't working? So first of all, it's breathe, and I told you, change your thoughts, right? What can I be thankful for? Because thankfulness is the direct opposite of complaining, and it's much easier to avoid complaining when you're genuinely thankful for your blessings. So I got an itchy nose. So anytime you feel yourself starting to dwell on negative thoughts or wanting to say that, complain about someone, something, whatever, for me it was pause, take a deep breath, look around at the things that I'm thankful for, pick them out and reflect on them, and inwardly express your gratitude to them. And outwardly, you can do that too. I was just thankful my husband got here before me and discovered all this, because I wouldn't have known what to do. So I had to express my gratitude to him that he's here to help me out. Oh, my fan. Can you see my fan going like crazy? It's still hot in here, you guys. Like, the fan's going mental. I got fans everywhere. What? It gives me a nice glow. What do you think? Do I have a nice glow on? So reminding myself, when I got here, I opened up the doors, I went and sat outside, and I'm like, wow, I love palm trees. So I just looked at that and I go, this is my view. I get to look at these palm trees every day in the winter while everybody's shoveling snow, right? And hearing the birds sing. Yeah, there were some birds singing when I got here late at night, right? So when you do this, it's hard to have negative thoughts, and they start to dissolve. And then what I learned from another young lady, thank you, Sophia, is to smile. And I'm like, okay, what happens when you have these gratitude thoughts and you put a smile on your face? Your whole demeanor changes, you guys. It's hard to be mad and all that other stuff, right? So that's one. Number two, I'm carrying on a bit here. Surround yourself with positive people. Because what happens is you adopt the mentality of the crowd, right? So the people around you complaining all the time, like there was in the airline business, all we did was complain about what we didn't have and how awful it was. And meanwhile, we had a pretty good life, right? So you might notice too, when you're in a group, one person complains, it gives permission for everybody else to throw fuel on the fire, right? And now everyone's like, you got this thing going on, right? So I'm like saying, I'm stepping away from that. And I am now, like my new friend Dominic really helped me to see that's the kind of person I want to hang around. He's happy, he's whistling. And I'm like, when's the last time I was whistling? Like, not for a long time, right? So I did reach out to him and I said, Dominic, it was so great to meet you and your wife, and I can't wait to get together for dinner and hear you sing opera. Oh my God, he loves to cook and he sings opera, right? So don't engage in the conversation. Tune out the complaints, like don't do that, but tune them out and change the topic, change the subject, direct it away from the complaint. All right, so that's enough said. And the third one is I discovered this on the internet, how to break a complaining habit. Okay, and I'm starting this. I haven't found my jar yet. So what you do is you get a mason jar or a jar or something like that. And every time you complain, put in, well, for my Canadian friends, hey, Cindy, put in a loonie or a toonie. Depends how bad the complaint is, right? So if you're here in the US that you do have these dollar coins, put it in, right? And oh my goodness, you could tell in a week how much complaining you've been doing, right? So And then take that money, don't go spend it, and donate it to your favorite charity, right? Because this is all about the neural pathways, that we're creating these new pathways of bright side thinking. That's my word. The bright light, the bright side thinking, not the boomerang thinking. That could be good. Let me rephrase that. Boomerang thinking. So if it's a great thought, if it's a positive thought, if it's a compliment, I want that to come back to me, right? So first you gotta put it out there for it to come back to you. So if you're putting out stinking thinking, complaining, life sucks, guess what? You're gonna get more of that, right? We all know that. So, well, if you didn't know that, you now know that. So I'm issuing, here's the teeth again. I'm issuing a personal challenge for you to join me in a personal challenge. This is something I'm committing to do. And November 1st, that's the date I arrived. So I already have 2 toonies in the jar, because I did complain a little bit how hot it was, and I want to go to my friends, and why can't I? Anyway, you get it, right? So in the month of November, celebrating my birthday month, turning 65, and asking myself, what do I want my legacy to be? How do I want to be remembered when I depart this world? And what pops into people's minds when my name comes up? Oh, she's such a negative person. She's always complaining. She's so ungrateful, right? I'm not, I think that's the way it used to be all the time. And thanks, Cindy, you're so sweet. You look 25, she says. Yeah, 65, you guys, November 20th. But I'm celebrating all month long, and this is how I'm choosing to celebrate, right? To really create some new neural pathways in my brain so that when my name comes up in a conversation, people will have something good to say about Carolyne. And I don't mean all the Facebook stuff that you see out there. It's your personal relationship with people. And I gotta tell you guys, the people that know you the best and that you have history with, those are the people, those are the people that matter most, right? Your family, your friends who are closest to you, because we can put on this great show for people around us that we don't see. We see once in a blue moon. It's the people that know you best. How are they going to be seeing you? What are they going to be saying about you? So think about it. Thumbs up if you're taking on the challenge. And if you're listening to this in replay time, give me a thumbs up emoji. Say, Carolyne, hashtag, I'm taking on the challenge, right? Because we just hold each other accountable and capable. So if this has been of value to you guys, and you're in a group page where you want to offer some tips to people who are having their challenges, feel free to share my live with them. Know that I'm here every Monday at noon, pretty much every Monday at noon, and you can connect with me if you want to get some more tips on how to create these neural pathways that will create some new and wonderful things happening in your life, right? So CarolynRodrigues.com, CarolYne, Rodrigues with an S.com. Connect with me, and I look forward to talking to you. So have a magical Monday, and tomorrow I won't have this lovely glow on because I'll be so cool. Bye, everyone. Talk to you next week.